argue this, status quo means that riots already happen on a continuous basis and is not stopping as we speak of. Secondly, what's best for the Futai Party? On the first clash, can we stop riots? The biggest attack from this side are a few-fold. One, you won't be able to win the hearts and minds of the yellow shirt movement because they always believe in the opposition party which exists and the status quo. We gave you two compelling reasons why we will be able to win the support of the yellow movement. For two reasons. Number one, once we give your party a chance to be in government, that means they will no longer be able to run the rhetoric that the reason why we're not in government is because of the elections which are inherently against us. Because now once they are the government, they control the institutions of government, therefore they can no longer run if during the second election they do lose out. But secondly, we also told you once you are the government, now you can judge your leaders who have previously made a lot of promises, but not now being able to judge whether those leaders will be able to fulfill it at all. The response coming from WIP was that this is a contradiction. It is not, because it's a simple reconciliation. How do we know whether the opposition party is genuinely evil or good if we do not give them the chance to run for governance under status quo? If they are truly evil, we can vote them out. And they can no longer control institutions of accountability. We told you that the military is neutral, and you conceded. We also told you, ladies and gentlemen, there will be massive domestic and international scrutiny upon the opposition. So exploitation will not happen. What will happen is that if they're evil, they will be voted out, but at least now their supporters will know that these people are liars and do not represent us. We will win that clash. But then they say, who cares about the yellow shirt movement, right? They're in the minority. I already asked in the POI in my speech, if they're in the minority, they won't be able to destabilize the whole of Thailand. The point is, how do we win their hearts and minds, ladies and gentlemen? By giving their representatives a chance to run, and if they fail, therefore we'll be able to prove our worth. But let's answer the second part of this debate. The assertion from this side that the red shirt movement will riot on the street, and therefore, because they are not represented. What did government tell you? Number one, under status quo, even when they are seen to be represented, when they win the elections, their party still gets toppled on a continuous basis. If you talk about voter apathy, that exists under status quo. When a Futai party wins, get kicked out. Wins, kicked out. That's what happens under status quo. But we added another reason. The reason why they will not riot, because this is a top-down approach, which Mubarak added, and also something in my speech, where the leaders control the sway in the hearts and minds of the people. We think in this regard, they will not riot, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a good reason which the leaders give, which is rioting destroys the economy of Thailand, which is in the interest of every single Thailand citizen. Therefore, they will not reject this kind of reason, ladies and gentlemen. But I think it's really weird, right? This I say, oh, the reason with the conflict now is different because it symbolizes economic progression. We don't even need to give a reason. Logically speaking, how can there be economic progress if riots happen on a continuous basis, which destabilize the economy on a continuous basis? The more compelling reason is Ukraine, which leads to deaths on the ground. We think that's what we need to deal with. What's best for the Futai party? They said that if opposition takes power, now there will be a retraction of subsidies. This is what happens when you misrepresent our point. Under status quo, when the Futai party gives out subsidies, it is seen as a token of patronage. Under our policy, once the opposition takes party, they need to rationalize the subsidies because they still need to win the hearts and minds of the poor rural voters. But no, they'll see this as a genuinely good economic reason, not as a system of patronage which is perpetuated by Futai party. That came in my speech, you should listen to that, right? But finally, ladies and gentlemen, the supporters will not abandon. The supporters are abandoning under status quo when money can't be given out, even if it is for rational reasons, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of this debate, unfortunately, the government is already placed at a disadvantage. Their leaders are taken out. Their ability to run a successful government will no longer be there when the vast leaders are persecuted, moved out. The only way for success to happen is to topple status quo.